Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right. All right. Well, before I jump into my end of things, does anybody have any questions for me that we can start with? Nope. All right. Just gonna flip forward. Okay. So I'm going to be creating some documents for us, and today just kind of trying to organize everything in one place so we can uh, really get focused on what the game plan is going forward. So I'm going to share my screen. So here are my notes for today. Just going to start off with the resources. You guys should all have CoSchedule. I have a Hootsuite account, which I'm going to be working on and bringing you guys in on an individual basis. So our goals going forward is first going to be to automate the posting. You know, posting can take a lot of time, and the number one thing that we need to do in the long term is build engagement. So to give us the breathing room to build engagement, we're going to automate the posting to the as best we can. So I'll start there. The general plan is to just keep doing what we're doing on CoSchedule. We're going to keep practicing on making posts. We're going to try it. We're just going to get creative and um, making high quality images, learning how to find good content on the internet. And over time, the posts that get the best traction, there's a system in CoSchedule called Requeue. And Requeue is basically you can pick a post, and once your queue has been emptied, you know, let's say 2 or 3 weeks from now, we don't have any more posts. Because we've decided to move on from creating posts in CoSchedule, Requeue will basically start to take anything we put into Requeue will get reposted once we run out of content, essentially. So for right now, the main thing is to just really start to focus on the images. I was looking at some of the images that people were working on, and here are a couple of my notes for them. Number one, let's avoid using Pablo. Pablo is really not a great tool for images. It's about as primitive as an image tool can get. So anything you create in Pablo is going to look amateurish. One thing I would say that you can learn how to do in Pablo is just to fit the right amount of text, onto as few lines as possible. So what Pablo really should be used for is as an image search engine. In here, you can easily do YouTube and, download an image. You can delete the text here. What I have found that to be very useful, but also this contrast thing. Sometimes you're going to have images that, like if I take the contrast off here, this one's not a bad one, but this one is. Why? Because it's really, really white. So, if I was to, write some words on here, it's going to be very hard to read the words. So this if you find an image on the internet that you like and you want to put some contrast on it, you can very easily upload it to Pablo and put that contrast on and re-download it. So that's one of the main reasons I use Pablo. Number two, I almost always start off basically using the search engine. And very often, once I've exhausted these, I will click on these because these are royalty-free websites. Pixabay really is the top one. But Pixabay you'll eventually run out of images on. So just let's, for the most part, stop using Pablo as the actual tool to create images, because there's really nothing you can do with it. Besides adding contrast and putting text on it, there's not much to do with it. Now, what I would recommend here is, I've noticed with a couple of people that were using Pablo that they were doing, text like this. Is there an actual spelling mistake in there? So I'm just going to go like that. There's no reason really for there to be a fourth line here. You can very easily fit that amount of text on 3 lines. So that's something you instantly should try to work on. Fit the words on as few lines as possible. And in most cases, you're not going to want it to be very wide. So this would probably be, too wide. You'd probably, instead of wanting to do it on 2 lines, fit it on 3 lines. So that's the first thing I noticed. Let's get away from Pablo. Let's really start using Canva. And Canva, again, is, in my opinion, just where the second best tool, or the second easiest tool to use. There's a lot of other tools out there, and once you get familiar with Canva, once we've kind of mastered Canva, you can move on to other ones. So I did a very quick Google search for social media image design, ran these with Ahrefs batch analysis, and found articles where there's plenty of other tools to use. So let's see. This is another one I found very quickly, Adobe Spark. The first thing is really to get creative with making images. Images at the end of the day are going to be one of the best ways to build engagement on social media. Not everybody is going to have, most people aren't going to read the text first. If they see a nice image that they like, then they're much more likely to read the text. But if you don't have a good image, you're probably not going to make much of an impact. And we're going to eventually get to making videos too. So I should add that to our resource document. There's a program called Promo. So for those of you who are familiar with video editing, I'll give you access to that sooner than later. I think Alex is the only one who told me that he does video. So I think Alex, you and me can have some talks there. Because part of the social media is also, we're going to eventually kind of split up into different teams. There's a lot of platforms to tackle, and for each platform, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So talking, on that element, Facebook and Instagram are really going to be the first platforms that we try to master. But then we're going to move on to Pinterest. Twitter is not one of my favorite platforms, but Twitter has, out of all our social media profiles, because social media is really a relatively new thing that I've gotten into. Our Twitter account has probably the biggest reach of all the platforms, maybe just after Pinterest. Pinterest, we have a pretty good account on also. All right, so don't use Pablo. All right, with Canva, let's really focus on having some kind of consistency, because that's another thing that we can work on and improve on. Oops. So one of the main pieces of homework that I'd like people to do this week, besides just really getting, practicing on your images, and as soon as you've finished making images or making posts in CoSchedule, continue to send me those links so I can take a look at them and make some recommendations. But one of the main pieces of homework that I think everybody should do this week is start looking for Facebook groups to join. And again, back to Facebook pages that you like. one of the best ways to build engagement is to find engaging content that you like and to, you know, reverse engineer why you like it. So this is an article that I found that I think everybody should really kind of take a look at. It's talking about some famous brands and the social media campaigns that they've run over the that have been successful. So, you know, they've got Wix, Airbnb in here. They've got a ton of different companies. But everybody should go out there and try to find one Facebook page or one Facebook group. It doesn't matter what industry it's in that you like. And find some social media posts and let's share that with each other and kind of deconstruct what, you know, what works and what doesn't. So, and then also we need to start, you know, researching the SEO field. That's going to be one of our next steps, is curating content. So I think CoSchedule is a pretty no-brainer one. Since CoSchedule is going to be our primary tool, CoSchedule is a great place to look at content. And I've found a lot of good stuff in there. Another one that I have also seen a lot of content over time is Buffer. So this is another article, which I'm going to share both of these right now to our Skype chat. Both of these are really good articles. So the first one just, you know, kind of examples of social media content that it works, it is good and engaging. And then the second one is about making, you know, social media images. And you know, for now, Canva is really the one I'd like us to master and get good at. Once we've kind of made templates that we like, we can, you know, we're going to kind of pick and choose out of all, you know, everybody will probably come up with, let's try making 2 to 3 templates this week on Canva. And then we're going to kind of pick and choose at the end of the week which ones everybody likes the most. So I'm going to go to my Canva right now and just show you, and we're going to work on one real quick. So yeah, the homework is make 2 to 3 templates on Canva, find one page or Facebook group, with engaging content that you like. And let's just, for right now, not be specific to SEO and social media. We'll work on that later. So here in Canva, if you click on all your designs, it'll show you your designs. So for right now, there's just 2 things that I'd recommend everybody does, and that's just, let's use Open Sans as our primary font. That is just, again, to keep some kind of consistency. So if you guys are on any website on the internet, you can right click on something and inspect elements. And that will show you how it's coded on the website. So if you look at our H1 here, the font that we're using is Open Sans. That's why we're going to be sticking with Open Sans. We'll have consistency from the website into the social media. And then the next part of consistency is colors. We want to keep some kind of consistent colors. We don't want to be switching from red to purple to everything in between. It's not, you know, it's not great on the eyes. So to do that, you should probably create a color palette. So color palette, a program that I use on Windows is called Just Color Picker right here. And here's the link for that. I'm going to put that in the Skype group. Now, if you're on a Mac, there's, you know, I think you might want to do some of your own research, but this is one that I found that I think looks pretty good, called Color Slurp. And now with these programs, you can go to a website and just pick the colors out. You know, you hover over something and it'll tell you what color that is. If you hit the hotkey, which hotkeys right here in options, in this case, my capture key is Alt X, but you can customize that. But you can just drag over anything and cut and capture the color. You can see that I can very quickly kind of get the colors that I have on the website. Now this is just, you know, we can be a little bit creative with the colors, but the idea here is that you try to have some level of consistency. In graphic design, very often what you will do is you will have an accent color as well. So there's websites for this as well. Let's see.
Does that give PMS or just RGB?
Say it again.
Does that give the PMS color or just RGB?
It can do all of them. So HTML is what will go on a website. It's what you'll probably be putting into Canva, but it does give you, you know, RGBs. You can switch it around to whatever, you know, whatever program needs something, you can switch it to that.
Cool.
Yeah, but I think you're going to mostly be using HTML, which gives you just this 6, you know, digit number here. You can copy that into Canva. So you can, you know, put it up there. I picked the wrong one. I'll do the darker blue. And they have actually, I didn't even see that until now, but they have a really cool color thing here. They show you color palettes within Canva. That is pretty cool. So there's a lot of websites that can help you with color stuff. So color, you know, color palettes for websites. Again, there's so many of them. I'm just gonna hrefs it up and see which one gets the most traffic. So colors.co, colorhunt.co. Yeah. So I'm okay with going outside of just the blues. But the idea here is that we don't just jump all over the place. Let's try to, if you're going to create a series of images, you know, you don't want red and purple in the same image. You don't want really drastically different colors. I think color wheel is what I'm trying to remember. Color wheel theory. Color wheel accents, accent colors. Yeah, this is what I'm going for. So I'm going to drop this article in our Skype group as well. So Skype is not the greatest place actually to be kind of having these conversations. It's going to get at one point very messy. So I'm going to want to kind of split up, you know, where we're communicating into different areas. So today I'm going to show you guys get you on 2 things. I want us all to connect on Facebook. We're going to have a Facebook group for the team. And then I'm going to get you in Asana, which is my project manager. So the project manager, I think, will kind of clean up Skype. And in the Facebook group's just going to make it a lot easier. When we find content that we like, we can very quickly and easily share it into the Facebook group. It's going to be private. So it's really just for us to be trading around ideas. So here is my Facebook profile. And let's just go ahead and friend me right now, and then I'm going to add you to our Facebook group. So I'm going to drop that into the Skype chat as well. Or actually, I sent you to the wrong one. Let's do this one. And then I'll get everybody in the group. Where is it? No. I have 2 Facebook accounts. I'm trying to organize the personal stuff away from the business stuff, but it's going to take a while to get there. So there it is.
I did send a friend request. I'm not sure why it's not coming through, so.
Okay. So go ahead and try to join this Facebook group. I'm going to try to add you all, but it might just be faster to share it to the Skype chat. Okay. Okay, well, let's just move on. I'm going to get you guys in Asana next. Is anybody familiar with Asana or used it before? Okay. Okay, I don't think we're going to really have time to go over Asana today because it's kind of a, I'll probably work on this individually with you guys, but we're just going to try to move some stuff off of Skype into Asana, whatever makes sense, because otherwise Skype will get really messy. So I'll just show you the basics of Asana. Asana, you can create projects. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Where is this? So project number 1, let's go back to our to-do list. Okay, so Creating co-schedule posts. So eventually, you know, I may get to a point where, and I'll just start with Alex because Alex does video. So Seattle web search. YouTube SEO is again where we've seen the majority of our success, SEO wise. Anything in here that you see a video on, like these ones, like this one right here, is typically an indicator of being a primary piece of content. So I may go into Asana and I may say, or not that one. I may grab the URL and be like, nope, come on guys. Assign it to Alex. Why yours isn't showing up there?
Yeah,
that-
mine's the second one. Yeah.
That one? Okay. So now, you know, in Skype, I saw this already where you guys were sending me a bunch of links. And for right now, let's just keep it simple. Continue to do this, continue sending me the links. But I'm going to be moving this stuff into Asana so that we can have chats about the individual tasks and, you know, just be a little bit easier to just clean up Skype with a lot of this stuff. So for right now, don't worry too much about Asana, but if you have any questions about anything at all, because I haven't, not getting that much feedback from you guys, I'd like to know what you guys need help with. So I guess that does take me back to something that's on my notes. How many of you had a chance to watch over any of the recordings from the, from the playlists? Can you guys tell me which ones you watched and, if any of which ones were helpful for you?
I watched, since I wasn't there for the first team training, I watched that one. I also went over the training we did again, just to make sure I had everything.
Okay. All right. Who else?
I went over the blog team training one where you specifically went over the Ahrefs. It was a good refresher.
Can you send me the link for that one?
Yeah.
And then Marley, you said you watched one of the team training videos. We had 2 of them. Was it the first one or the second one?
I think it was the second one, the most recent one.
Okay. Yep, Kelly, you look like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I also watched one of the blog team videos. One of them I watched was the keyword research. And I think I also went over one of our social media training ones, the one where I wasn't there for.
Okay, can you guys, when you watch them, send me a link just so I know which one you're watching? And, some feedback on them would be great. So one of the videos that I'm getting ahead of myself. So the keyword research thing is, again, something that I'd like to get some questions from you guys regarding, because keyword research, I've been trying to teach the blogging team keyword research, and I have found that it's a hard thing for me to teach because I don't do it the same way every time. The Ahrefs batch analysis thing is probably the most consistent element to keyword research that I do for people. But beyond that, it varies dramatically. So what I am going to do is we had a recent training video or recent training with the blog team where I took one of the bloggers' pieces of content and I went through the whole process of doing keyword research on it. And I think that's going to be a good video for the team. But I'm trying to edit it down from an hour long just down to the 20 minutes that I think is most useful. So, all right.
I had a question/comment kind of on one of the videos. It was the Ahrefs video. I don't know if I'm not hearing and seeing at the same time, but like shortcuts that you do on the keyboard, if you're like screen grabbing and then you say like, I don't know, like Ahrefs, or when we're searching for links, like link clumping, I had to like look up the shortcut because I couldn't see it like on the video. So I guess if you could like say it out loud.
Okay, I'll try to do a better job with that. And when you, so that's a perfect example of when you get to that kind of part of the video, go ahead and, you know, right click on the video for me and send me that part, you know, a direct link to that part. So I'm just
Okay.
going to, you know, open one of these up. Let's just say it's at this part of the video and you have no idea what I'm doing in it. Right click on it, copy video URL, and send that to me in Skype.
Okay.
And then, you know, I can let you know right then and there what I'm doing and hopefully, you know, fix that going forward.
Okay.
All right. So that actually does get me back to a couple of things that I wanted to get everybody to do today. You know, the Canva, we're going to focus on Canva really going forward. Let's use Open Sans as a font, and color palettes are going to be a good thing to work on this week. But another thing that's going to be really helpful is being able to take screenshots. So you will all see this on your, you know, and I probably installed this on your Chrome profile, profile, and it's called Fireshot, and it just allows you to take screenshots of, you know, of the internet. So the settings should be JPEG. You should do, this is a lot of this stuff is my personal preference of settings, but I'm going to take a screenshot of this and put it into the Skype chat. But this will allow you to really just take pictures while you're out and about and use them in your images. Because that's something you're going to find very quickly, is that you'll kind of exhaust your royalty-free images pretty easily. So social media chat.
What's the shortcut for Fireshot?
That I actually don't use one. I just normally will, you know, let's say I like this part of a YouTube video, you can just click Fireshot and capture visible part or entire page. Entire page means it's going to scroll down. So I'll just give you an example. If I go to seattlewebsearch.com and do capture entire page, see how it makes like a really long image. So you can absolutely add a keyboard shortcut for it. So another thing I do, and I'm not sure whether everybody will want to, I'm gonna, when we get to Asana, I'll definitely be reinforcing this on you guys a little bit more, but I have Dropbox on my computer, and there's a setting in Dropbox where it automatically saves screenshots. And I really like that feature. So where is it? Yeah, share screenshots using Dropbox. So anytime I take a screenshot, it automatically gets saved into Dropbox. And, you know, I'm hitting print screen over and over again right now, and it's saving it to my Dropbox. You can see down here even, you know, it moves for a second, right? So I do this all the time just to keep track of what I'm doing on a regular basis. You know, so going back to what you were saying earlier, while you're watching a video, you can right click on it and send it to me, or you can just, if you have Dropbox installed like this and have that setting, you can just hit print screen, and it's gonna have a picture on your computer now from that moment. So you know, these kinds of things I'm gonna get into a little bit more when we really kind of talk about Asana. For this week, my primary thing that I want everyone to take away with is really Canva. Let's work on making 2 to 3 templates on Canva and just really kind of dial up the quality of the images there. So Fireshot can be helpful just because you can, you know, put things into Canva now. All right, so let's go back to the social media team and see if this is updated. Not really. Oh, there we go. Can everybody try and join this group? Has everybody joined this?
Yeah, I sent a request, but I don't see.
Oh, okay. Let me, that's why people aren't coming in. Okay, there we go. Approve all. Yep, so aside from Canva, making the templates on Canva, your second piece of homework is to find one page or Facebook group that you like with engaging content, and let's share it to this place. This is gonna be our home base for basically content that we like and learning how to build engagement in Facebook. It'll be a really good place to organize it. It's also very easy to share, share content within Facebook itself. So I'm gonna actually link a couple of groups that I like to get us started. Oop, there's Anna. So this group is all about food. And this is one of the hottest Facebook groups I've ever seen. The level of engagement on this is ridiculous. Here we go. Who doesn't like food? So I'll get a couple more in here, but so Facebook groups are really something that you're gonna, kind of a cheat code in Facebook. Facebook has an issue, and everybody remember to stop me if I'm repeating myself, because I never know what I've talked about with who. But, if you go to our Facebook content on the website, there's an article in here that talks about the newsfeed changes. This is basically when Facebook started to get in trouble. Before they went public, they had an organic reach of about 40%. So that means if you had 100 followers on your Facebook page, about 40 would see any given post. That was the average. As soon as they went public, that went down from 40% to 16%. That's because they had to make space for ads. They were selling ads. To make space for ads on the newsfeed, they had to reduce the reach of pages, which at the time was predominantly what had the space on there. And every single year since, it's been going down 2% because they sell more ads. And today we're sitting at about 2%. So if you have 100 followers on your Facebook page, about on average, 1 to 2 is going to see a post. Now that changes depending on your engagement rate. If you have a high engagement rate on your page, that goes up. If you have a low engagement rate, it goes down. You'll see right now that our Facebook page is very fresh and we don't have any engagement on it. And that's something we're going to have to work on over time. But this is where Facebook groups come into play. Facebook groups do not have an organic reach filter like that. Anybody, if you're in a Facebook group, anybody can see every single post. And that's where the power of Facebook groups are. You don't have to cut through the noise as much. So yeah, Facebook groups is just something I'd recommend people do. Facebook pages is going to be really useful for us for research purposes, because something that groups can't do is they can't run ads. So, and we're going to eventually get to Facebook ads. I have it looks like I have plenty of time. So I just will show you just how crazy Facebook ads can be. But Facebook ads also, if you're relying on Facebook ads, then you're paying for your results almost exclusively. So this is a company that they're education consultants. And, because of coronavirus, a lot of schools are having to move everything online. And a lot of teachers don't know how to do that. So we've been helping them basically sell courses online. But these are ads, and I'll just kind of go back to the beginning. You can, in here, tell Facebook what you want. In this case, we want traffic to the website. You tell them basically, you almost always are going to be in an auction system where it's kind of a bidding war. That's how pay-per-click kind of works. But from here, you have a ton of settings. You set a budget, and then you can start targeting people. So this is where the power of Facebook really comes in. I'm going to kind of start from the beginning just to kind of show you what it looks like. I'm getting ahead of myself, but Facebook groups are just really powerful because it's one of the best ways to do organic SEO. But at the end of the day, social media is no longer free to play. They're pay to play environments. So Facebook ads are really where a lot of your advantage can come in. So in this case, you can retarget people that come from the website. You can retarget people that read a newsletter, and you can also just target people within Facebook itself. We could be like teachers. So English teachers, and then you hit suggestions, and it just goes on and on and on. I want to target job titles. Normally, you don't want to target because they got in trouble for that. They've gotten in trouble for targeting people's jobs. They've gotten in trouble for targeting people's medical conditions, and because of that, the effectiveness of that kind of targeting has been hurt quite a bit. So normally, when you're in here, you're going to be focusing on interests. Interests is where you'll see 500 million people are interested in teacher stuff, whereas in job titles, you only got 46,000. But you can just go on and on and on. Click lecturer, physician. Maybe I'm interested in people that are also into PowerPoint. I also want people that like Zoom, right? Because they're trying to move so maybe not Zoom itself, but video conferencing. Video conferencing. You get the idea. But so Facebook can target pretty much anything you can imagine. And then you can browse all the stuff that you can target. You can check this little checkbox that says reach people beyond your detailed targeting selections. So what it's going to do is it's going to find people. It's just going to expand. It's going to just automatically over time with all the crazy algorithm stuff that it has going on in there, test out new audiences that are similar to the original one that you put into the system. So you can continue. Then you just, add your media, add your text, your stuff. And it's just, this stuff is so crazy. The ads will basically continuously, you can give them like 10 different images, 10 different headlines, 10 different pieces of primary text. And what they will do is they will combine them into different variations and test those variations out on your target audience. And over time, depending on which ones work and which ones don't, it's going to kind of sort through all that data and find the ad that works the best for the right audience. So you can just see this, and this is just really the most basic level of what Facebook can do. What you really eventually want to get to with pay-per-click is retargeting. And retargeting is where you get someone to your website, or you get a warm lead, and then you target them with some specific information. So this is why Facebook groups, with all things social media and all things SEO, you got to know what tool to use for what purpose. So for us, we're going to be mostly focused on building things organically, because again, if you go straight to pay-per-click, what you end up doing is you're going to be paying for things that you should have otherwise probably gotten for free organically. If you do organic SEO, organic social media, and you focus on that, eventually you're going to get diminishing returns. You're going to get to a point where you've exhausted all the easy opportunities. And once you've exhausted all the easy opportunities, that's when pay-per-click comes in. Because, why would you write 100 blog posts, make 100 videos to get a conversion when you used to only have to make one blog post or one video to make a conversion? Once you get to that point where your diminishing returns have gotten really, really high, that's when pay-per-click makes a lot of sense. Because then you're paying for, you're getting your value out of your budget. So I went off track there a little bit, but okay, so Facebook groups. Yep, find just places, find examples of content that you find interesting on Facebook, and let's share it to our group. And we'll use that kind of a place where we'll bounce ideas around, and we'll just use that to improve our own content. All right. So we are getting, I have about 15 minutes. Let's just does anybody have any questions and have anything they'd like me to go over one more time?
For the Canva templates that you want, do you want us to create them for any specific blog post or anything, or is it just kind of whatever we want?
Let's focus on the most recent blog content.
Okay.
So that if you go to the website, you go to blog, pretty much anything in the top page, anything on this page, this is where I really think we need to kind of focus our energies and make high quality posts. I don't know why that's published.
Do you want us to share it in the Skype page or the Facebook once we do make the templates?
Yes, share them to me in Skype. For right now, let's just use Skype as the primary means of communication. Outside of the Facebook group is where we're going to share content that we like and that we kind of want to use as inspiration for improving the quality of our own stuff. And eventually, probably next week, I'm going to be teaching you guys bite-sized bits of Asana. And we're going to be moving as much stuff off Skype onto Asana as possible. Because Skype is just, it's going to get, how much scrolling do you guys already have to do on Skype? Probably too much. So we're going to want to take stuff off of Skype and organize it somewhere that's more easily that you can more easily navigate. So if you see something like this, I'd like to, again, I'm really looking for feedback from you guys because there's so much that we can improve all over the place. That if you notice something that like this right here, you see how this has 3 lines, that why spend on a 3rd line? It shouldn't be like that. This blog post was scheduled and really shouldn't have gone out yesterday. This featured image needs to be fixed. And if the featured image is bad, it's likely that I haven't even proofed it. So that, that's one example of things that if you notice things like that, please just shoot me on Skype, let me know. But let's also go back and now that we're getting better at Canva, we're getting better at making images, and we're eventually going to get better at picking the right text for our posts. Go ahead and fix the old posts or redo them again. Some of these definitely just the images aren't great. So let's just try to go in there, fix the images. Well, one other thing that I want to kind of get rid of is this. So when you make a co-schedule post, it's going to pull in the slug, which is a good thing to have. The slug is just the URL, and it's going to pull in the title of the page. Well, the title of the page, in most cases, it's going to show up in the post. It just doesn't always make a lot of sense. So, and I think in most cases, you can delete that title. Did you see that title that was there before? Best time to upload to YouTube. Weekday evenings, Thursday and Friday are best. Parentheses, daily online video viewership peaks in the evening. So in this case, it's not the worst place, but very often what I've been seeing is this is like at the end of the post. It doesn't even make sense. I don't know why I can't even select it. I've been seeing it like this. Oops. So go ahead and just delete. In most cases, you can delete that unless it makes sense. And the slug we should have in every single post. Because when you, the reason why is when you customize an image, it takes out the snippet. So I'll just go and show you an example. The snippet is, you know, when you put in a link, I'll just go and show it to you because it's very hard to kind of describe. So since we're making Facebook posts, I'm going to pick a Facebook article. This one. So if I went to Facebook directly, and this is something we're going to be playing around with next, you know, once we've kind of done a bunch of stuff in CoSchedule, we're going to start to post manually to Facebook too, because CoSchedule only allows you to make the most basic posts, photo and video posts. It doesn't allow you to do any of this other stuff. So if I put in a link here, do you see how it says fetching preview? That's the snippet that it's going to populate. The snippet is going to be the title of the page, which you can customize, I think. Maybe not. And the featured image. So if I was to put in a custom image, and I'll just go do it real quick, you'll see that the snippet's going to disappear. So save that image. Did you see how the snippet disappeared? So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but just to keep that in mind. All right.
I had another question about images for posts. Sorry.
Say it again.
I had another image question.
Mm-hmm.
What are best practices for like white text over a white image? Like, do you recommend like a backfill or I guess like non-dark photos with a white text?
Yeah, so that's one of the only reasons I use Pablo is I'll upload images that I like to Pablo, like the EdgeRank one. And it's got this contrast. That's pretty much the only feature in there that they have.
Okay.
So, you know, and then I can, in this case, probably switch it to a square. Because I don't like that black box. You know, now you've got that contrast on there. So you can share and download. And go to Canva and, like you said, put white text on top of it now, and you'll be able to read that text. So that's pretty much the only reason I use Pablo is an image search engine to add that contrast that makes text usually a lot more legible. But that's also why I tend to pick these templates that have boxes on them, because with the box, right, then you have contrast almost automatically, and you can play around with the colors a little bit more this way. The only issue then is that not a lot of images work, right? You can't even tell what's behind this box because it's so big. So something to keep in mind is that Facebook, this is actually a good thing to end on. Facebook image text check. Facebook doesn't like a lot of text on its images. So it has this tool here. I'll put this in the Skype group where you can upload an image that you've made. And I'll just pick, because I want to move quickly, the featured image here. And it's going to tell you how much text you have. So your ad will run normally. So that's not too much text. But you know, if you have a ton of text on there, too much text doesn't make Facebook happy. I wouldn't worry about that too much yet. This is more for ads than anything else. What I was really getting to was just that when you have a big box like this, you can't even see what the image is behind it, right? This one, when you have boxes like this, you're either going to want to right justify the box, left justify the box, or get images where your content isn't centered, which you'll find in a lot of cases the content is centered. Yeah, I have so much more that I could go over with you guys. I think right now what we should all focus on is really just how do we make our images as good as possible. And I have tried to find content on the internet that talks about that, and there's a surprising lack of content out there that talks about it. So if you guys find anything that's really good that talks about making great social media images, or what even is a good image in the first place, let's share that to the Facebook group as well, or share it into the Skype group.
Did you have any images that you thought were really good that you liked, just as an example for us?
Yeah. So if you go to the photo section of the Facebook page now, this is actually done by the blogging team, but this is one that I don't really like. It just, it doesn't even use our font. It's YouTube tags, YouTube tags. That how really should be on the second line. It just looks weird. This is not a great image. I like this one. The colors all kind of work together. I might have the margins a little bit larger on the box, and you might want to. So everybody should read that article that talks about color theory, and accent colors are really, really good thing to understand. I think all the colors here blend together nicely, but you could make the text more legible, right, by having kind of more of an accent color on this. If I copy this image, go to Photoshop. No, that's not a good one. But an accent color, I'd have to go look at a color wheel right now to know what a good accent color would be. But I'm just saying there's a lot of blue, right? And then I like this one. I think this is one of the better ones. In general, a picture like this doesn't really do much for me. It just, let's read the text. YouTube is full of various strategies for creators when it comes to advertisements and marketing. In today's world of constant advertising, it's important to know how to utilize them and which are best. YouTube ads are unlike any other. So, we're talking about YouTube ads, but what does this image provide? And where's the context? Does it help with the text? Does it help draw people in to read the text? I don't think so. This one says YouTube ads. I know what it is instantaneously. Just capitalize the T, because that's YouTube is with a capital T there. But this is a good image. But you can see the title here that I was talking about, that how it automatically pulls in the title. While great content is bound to be found, it's YouTube ads for beginners. Start with in-stream ads. That doesn't really make a lot of sense there before the URL. Also with the URL, I think in a lot of cases it's smart to put the URL higher in the post, because not everybody when you're in a feed is going to click the read more button. So either the text that shows up, and again, a lot of these are just some of my opinions, but you know, here you see how it says see more. Most people are not a lot of people are gonna hit see more unless this text is really good. You know, so by putting that link up higher, you give yourself a much higher chance of people navigating to the website. And you're going back to, you shouldn't expect everybody to navigate outside the website, but that's what any social media marketer's goal should be, is to get people to engage, because that's what builds your visibility within the Facebook bubble. But then you want them to leave Facebook and go to your website. So by, you know, providing teasers on social media, and then, you know, so get them excited on social media, and then say like, well, here's how, you know, to download something, go to the website. You know, the call to action and trying to get people to click on the link is something we're going to definitely work on over time. So for right now, let's just, you know, I got a little ahead of myself. Let's just really focus on the images. All right. Well, it is 11 o'clock, so I'm going to call it there. If you guys have any additional questions, please just go ahead and reach out to me on Skype, and we'll talk. So this time works for everybody next week as well? Good. All right. Let you guys go then. Have a good rest of your week, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.